Don't allow any problems that come your way to say to you, you cannot make it in life, give up. No.
People define love as sex, and that's not how it is.
My brain was capturing this for the last time so that when it goes off,
I respect myself,
So my mom single-handedly raised me. So
it's not all about the emotions. The emotions, you are having them
right now. It's also because we're competing, especially the system of
love, uthando.
I believe I've seen God personally touching me.
They don't really mean sorry.
Realize how much you are worth and stop chasing the cheap hookups.
Like, I had a very positive mindset to say, you know what?
If you continuously say I'm tired, eventually you're going to be tired.
Guys, they are not true to themselves. Or
teenagers that actually know what they want to do.
You want to be a millionaire, you really need to chill with the millionaires.
People actually want to sell what?
Or a sweet or a something to.
Nice. I'm grateful for the life that I've gotten to live up until this point.
Tomorrow you wake up and you start reading.
You can lead anyone or anything.
So you see this graph, ne?
It's the SEC 15, which is our colon clean.
Looking at myself in the way God sees me, and that's
what I will tell you. I lost that 150,000.
How much are you getting paid for this? And I'm like, nothing.
Then 2017, I went into depression.
As your fattens.
Don't forget to follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Asvaye on Facebook. Follow Asvaye and share the conversations. Question people about mentality.
Bubbly. I mean, I really like such personalities because it's so easy to interact with. Yeah, I just like that.
This is me. It's my defense mechanism through what is happening inside.
Oh yes, I like that. And Dr. SEKGOPA, let me welcome you on Asvaye Sea Explorer. Listen, it's a great honor and privilege to have you, and thank you for respecting our invitation.
It's actually my honor. Thank you so much for inviting me over to Asvaye.
Take this, and I think I'll say something at the end of this interview, but let me just put this and welcome you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and guys, today this is an exclusive interview. We're gonna explore around your life, right from the beginning till this current state. And right, let us start before we get to you as a doctor. Let us start at the beginning of your life. Tell me about your childhood. How was it growing up for you in the streets of South Africa?
Okay, in SA. Okay, let's say in the streets of Free State, Tabancho. Actually, a local place that they know, Goreke Plantere, when like people who call it by the street name. I grew up, I'd say, like a normal. I had a normal upbringing. I was very blessed to have a full family, as they categorize it. I had my mom, my dad, my sister, and 2 little brothers. So I was sort of raised in a well-structured family. I had a great upbringing, to be honest. I wouldn't be complaining because I am here. Hey, I am who I am, and what I have actually acquired or what I've accomplished, it's basically because of my upbringing from my parents. Yeah. And yes, of course, what they say, your extended, the people around you have also played a role, which is true. The elderly around the community, Okay. Honestly, talking about my childhood, I wouldn't really say there was much of events happening. I can't clearly recall a lot of things, but all I remember was the warmth and the support and the guidance that I actually have received from these people. I Okay, my upbringing again. My dad worked as a security officer. My mom has really hasn't worked. So she has been like more of a housewife, a supportive mom, of course. Yeah, so basically my dad was the one who was holding everything together, like we say, the breadwinner. Uh, so he unfortunately passed away, but yeah, no, it's okay. It's life, and we learn as we grow that these things do happen. But to him, he actually made me, and he sort of structured me into the person that I am. So I actually went to primary at St. Paul's Primary School. It's one of those public schools, yes. And then I completed my grade 7 there, and then I moved from there to Albert Moroka High, which is basically the best sort of school that you pass by when you come to Tabanchu. So yeah, then I went there from grade 8 until matric. Yes. And man, honestly, what it was with my upbringing was all about focus. I've always been a person who is consistent, you know. When you say, I need to reach this, I got a goal, I need to work towards this thing, and all you do is work towards it. I was I wasn't really what kind of a person who was more into things outside. I've always been an academic person, but some people would be like, you must know how to balance life, be more involved in like sports and stuff. But sadly, so I think it was also because the public schools that we get involved with, they don't really like offer such as sports that would probably be one of the top list after academics to be. I'm gonna venture into these things when I'm done. But because of our public schools and how they sort of guide us, all we knew were academics. So I was said, let me just lean on this thing, and it's probably gonna pay off at some point. So yeah, I've always been that kind of a person. Well, there was a point then, hey, I was into soccer. Yeah. So I was playing soccer at some point, more in primary. But then when you got to high school, you realize you're like, yeah, sort of my work is starting to pile up. So I need to like set my priorities straight. So yeah, that's when I started being, let me do academics. Um, I don't know if there's anything more that you want me to add on that. uh, Maybe a specific question.
I understand and I follow with it. And now I'm curious to know the things that challenged your self-esteem as a young girl growing up, because I usually tell my viewers that for me it was lack of self-confidence, and it like it took me a long time to get into certain things because of that. I just want to know, I'm curious to know, what is it that affected your self-esteem?
Which is actually, I think that, hey, you don't build it in a day. You don't just jump up, or you wake up and you feel like, hey, my confidence is on another level today. Okay, looking back now, I'd say it was more of myself. It was me who was sort of I don't know, instead of me building it up, I would sort of I don't know how to put it, but motho o dulang you beat yourself up. Yes. So such things like you as a person, like every single time you get that you've achieved something, but you don't really realize it that, dude, this is an achievement, until somebody else comes to you and be like, hey, look at what you've achieved. This is like huge. And according to you, saw it as like, nah, not really. You always, as a person, likes to pinpoint the little form of mistakes that you do in your life. instead of really seeing, how much of great you've actually achieved, how much of that award you got, you still want to be like, I got the award, but I didn't really get, or you feel like you don't deserve it. So I feel like one main thing with me was fighting with myself. That is what was bringing down my confidence. And had I realized that way earlier on, that what, as a person, you must say, I've achieved, and this is me. It's, I did it. So yeah, I feel like that was one thing that I was actually battling about. It was more of an interior thing more than actually being external stuff. Yeah.
And I get that. All the people I know who did well at school, they actually struggle with something like that.
Yeah.
And the same thing is the same thing that made them to achieve like higher grades at school, because they would say like 60 and I'm happy with my 60, and the person would say, this is not enough. They would go an 80 and this is not enough. And I get that. I get that. And now you get into a high school level. Which goal you had at that time? Was to become a doctor or something else?
Oh, okay. From an upbringing level, I've always been the person's like, yeah, I want to be a doctor. But little did I know, I didn't even know what it meant, just being like, I see doctors at the hospital. I see doctors wearing scrubs. I see doctors in white coats. So I feel like from a younger level, I've always wanted to be one. But then as I grow up, and then you realize, you're just like, is this really what I want? Especially at varsity, when things went south. And then you start, is this really what I want? But just going back in high school, I'd say it has always been a thing that I've always stuck with. When they say, what is your first option in terms of career based, I'd always be like, yeah, I just want to be a doctor. But I did not know what that means. And you also get that question basically in med school, when somebody would ask, why did you choose medicine? Why doctor? Why not engineer? Why not a nurse? Why not? There's a lot of things. And till this day, if somebody asks me, I still say, I don't know. I just don't have a valid reason why I did this. But what I can say is, I believe it is God's plan. Yeah, I am meant to be where I am, and there's nothing that I can look or something that I can think of me being besides this current profession. So I'd say, yeah, I've always wanted to be one. Yeah.
And you know what's funny?
Mhm.
It's with like most of us before, I don't know now what is happening right now at the high school level, but most of us, including myself, we didn't know what we wanted to study until we even got into matric. We get there, you still pass well, but you don't really know what is it that you want to do. And that's a downfall when you get at the university, because you spend something like 2 years or maybe one, and then your marks start actually to decline or becoming bad, because you don't know what you're doing and it's not even aligned with your passion and stuff. So that's why I'm asking the very same question. And I have to say this, by the way, before before I jump to the next question, congratulations. I mean, at a very young age, you are what you are, and congratulations. I should have said this earlier.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. Those who are watching currently, guys, if you have questions for Dr. SEKGOPA, please drop your question. I'll read your question there. And guys, I would just want to leave this behind. If you see me a little bit distracted, it's because of the environment that I'm currently in. But I try by all means to be at my best. We are the youth with a never say die attitude. And now, in high school, tell me about the type of support you had.
Whew. In high school, obviously from my home, my parents, first of all, them understanding that, what, my kid is has got this strong point of academics. You can see that I'm really not that much of a sport person or someone who's venturing into something besides academics. So for them, I feel like they honestly went all out to know that, you know what, our kids has got to study. I remember this one time when I was studying, so then, my alarm, yeah, I'd sleep with an alarm, of course, but you know how hard it is. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I still need to nap. Let me snooze like 10 more minutes. But actually, I had two alarms. So I had my phone as my alarm, and then I had my dad or my sister if it goes, yeah, the other way. Oh, okay. So my dad would come and then he'd like come and wake me up. Hey, it's okay. Like he used to call me Shasha. So he'd be like, wake up. And I'd be like, I'm coming just 10 more minutes. Fine, 10 more minutes. He comes again, then he comes and wakes me up. Then I was like, okay, let me just wake up. So no, I really had like a huge support from my family. And I feel like that's one main important aspect that our parents as black people don't realize, that it's important for you to see what is your kid's strong point and work on towards that.
Yes.
Because I mean, at the end, that's what's gonna pay off. Don't want to make your kid to be something that he or she is not, or be like other people out there. Just yeah. Secondly, my support only came from my friends. Okay. So in high school, I had friends who would be like, we are a crew of study partners. We are here to work this thing out. We need to make sure that we get all those bursaries. Because I mean, that's what we are told. You like, when you at school, we need you to pass. And our teachers used to be like, this is the last point where you need to work as hard as you can. Little did we know that that's not the whole truth. Like there's life after matric, which is when you start adulting. But in high school, so I had a group of friends. We actually would even spend late nights at my place studying the whole night, which wasn't a good idea. But would be spending nights, sleepless nights, practicing, studying, yeah. And also, of course, my teachers from like high school did play a huge role. When sometimes you'd be like, you don't really get this thing, and then one teacher would be handing you over a book that makes things way easier. So I'd say in high school, that was more of my support from those people. Yeah.
And I want to understand the challenges you had in high school, coming from the environment or maybe from other learners, because I remember talking to one of the ladies we had, Mumbi. She was saying when she was studying hard and when she was like going extra mile, she was called by certain names. She was ridiculed in certain way. Yeah, I mean, tell me about that. What was your experience around that?
Yeah, I did get that. I did, to be honest. Okay, I got that one of being a bookworm and then not being active in terms of life outside. Because there's a lot of people who would tell you about their experience of high school and you'd be like, where have I been? What was I doing? Yeah, so you would get that when your scripts come back and then they'll be like, we'll see you that kid would be like, oh my God, the paper was so hard, but then the results come. I'm like, I studied, that's it,
Yeah.
So yeah, high school mostly you get that why aren't you venturing outside? Why aren't you being a kid? And you realize, you know what, me and you, we have different goals, we have different chapters in life that we need to pursue, and we want ours to be written this way. Yours, you can write it the way you want to, but mine, I want it to be written this way because after all, we are our own authors of our own lives. So that was the main one that I got in terms of academics. And the other one, in terms of gender, if I could say that, me, I grew up as a person who is not that much of into friendship, I'd say that, especially when it comes to females. So I used to, like I told you, I used to do sports, and then I used to have a lot of male sort of friends. And then because I felt like with them things are so easy, you know, guys, how they are, they always speak their mind out. They don't have drama like us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I got this one that I'm a tomboy. I was like, that's fine. And then looking back, honestly, I'm like, I really did give those people a reason to call me that. But hey, I mean, after all, it's you. You do you, and then you know you keep doing yourself, and then yeah, don't mind what people say. So that was really more about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And tell me about the thing that this is such a, it's gonna be like controversial in terms of thoughts, this question. Tell me about the disadvantages you detected in university, the disadvantages of going to public school. Did you go to public school, right?
Yes, I did. Okay.
Yes. You know, yeah, take us through that.
Okay, I have one, to be honest, that I've always been like, I really
Please don't tell me it's English.
No, you know, with English, as long as you know the words and you understand the second person, there's no problem. Accent, you know what? It's cool. Yeah, we're good. I mean, we are blacks, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, really not much you can do. It's accent, it's us. So yeah, like I was saying, in terms of public schools, I realized that our public schools sort of disadvantages us in the form of what the way in which they are sort of teaching us in terms of, okay, well, I feel like what they're doing is you need to take a book, you need to read, you must go and you pass. That's it. Like there's maths, yes, and then you take question papers, you practice about them. Probably you took a question paper of 2011, you redo it, chances of it being repeated are there, and then you go and then you pass. And then when you get to varsity, you experience something we call understanding, which is actually a word that we use lightly, but it's actually way deeper than the way it sounds. So you get there and then you realize what I did was just going through this with the structure of learning that I got from high school. And this is not what varsity wants, you know. Varsity teaches you need to understand a concept, you know. When somebody comes to you and talks about a certain subject, and even if you really don't know, I don't know what the detail, but you can understand I'd say the pathophysiology behind whatever that we are talking about. So it sort of teaches you understand a content, and in that way you'd be able to play around it, which is one most important thing that our public hospital sorry about hospital, public schools don't do. Yeah, my head is hospital. Yeah, so that's what our public schools I'm sorry, that's what our public schools don't really teach us as the youth of SA, you know. Yeah, so that was one main thing that I've realized. I'm like, it's so hard just because you're from top 100, you know, just because you were top achiever at high school, just because you were the leader and you acquired all the certificates, and then you go to varsity and then you realize, like, what happened? You know, that's when we ask, what went wrong? Where did I go wrong if I've always known to be such? And then you realize at varsity, you get there, you just fail. And it's all because of the sort of structure or the method of learning that they sort of handed over to us. So
I like that. I like that. And I can actually resonate with it. Because I'll tell you what, I got into university and I was there with high points than my friends. I mean the APS. But he ended up helping me about some of the courses that we're doing there. So I truly understand where you're coming from. that.
Yeah.
I truly understand. And now take me through the principles that you learned in high school, the things that you used like to keep to maintain your sanity, you know, to maintain whatever something good that was happening at that time. You know, for example, I had this this scripture from the Bible that was saying, and it still says even right now. The scripture says,
Yeah.
the scripture says, those who walk with the fools will become fools, but if you walk with the wise, you shall
Yeah.
become wise. So I've always like attached myself with smart people, you know, and that's actually what helped me during my high school days. And tell me about your principle or maybe your guidelines.
Okay. I'd say first faith. You know, I have always been okay. In my family, we have been taught that Sunday it's church day. That's just how it has been. So yeah, we have always been that kind of a family. So on Sundays I'd go to church, you know, and you know, like us, as you were a young person, faith doesn't really strike you as one main principle that you really need to forever have. Yeah. So for now, we would go to church. So going to church, not even understanding, because in high school I wasn't really into read the Bible, understand the Bible, like the word that you just quoted. I wouldn't have been able to do that. But hey, that was one thing. Just listening when they say go to church, even though you don't understand why am I going to church. I feel like that thing really sort of took me off the streets. You know, it sort of set me to being a respectful person. You know, those kind of characters that you do have at the background, but you don't even realize that these are the needs that as a person to shape you into who you're gonna be. You really do need that. So, second one, I'd say it has always been be a positive deviance in your family. You know, so I've always wanted to be something, man, you know, come out to be that one person in this family who, when you walk there and then they look at you and they're like, huh, really, she did it, you know. So I feel like that was also one thing that kept me in the zone. And one other thing is just keep reminding myself to say stay focused. Stay focused, because you got a goal that you want to achieve. And mind you, if you don't do the work, nobody's gonna do it for you. Okay. So I've always been that person who's like, you know, as a person, I believe as you as an individual, there's two of you. And so there's one inner person, you know, that inner voice that keeps on telling you like, whoa, really, did you do this? And then there's this outer one that everybody's seeing who can like, yeah, speak their mind out. So I've always been the person who sort of stops, pause, and then just check, you know. When the inner person speaks, do you listen or do you just avoid, and then you don't listen to the instincts, like people say, yeah, the instincts. So yeah, I'd say those are the things that actually sort of help me to remain focused, you know, in this journey of high school, because there's a lot of things that are happening outside. It's easy for you to get tempted, even looking at our rates of like youth and drug using, you know. Yeah, all those bad statistics. But I'm glad I wasn't part of it. So I feel like those are some of the points that actually made me to remain focused. Yeah. Yeah.
And your experiences with other people in high school. But I'm from a high school where I've seen brilliant learners, fellow peers, very brilliant, but fell in the trap of pregnancy, something like that, or maybe not pregnancy alone, but you know, peer pressure as well. How did you dodge that? How did you dodge that? Because I heard you articulating about these challenges prior to my question.
Yeah.
But I wish to know if you had like a brief about these things back home, or is this something that you had to learn and see it going, and you were like, otherwise?
You're making me disclose personal things, but I have I'd start by saying that yes, I encountered such from home, personally. Go higher, my surrounding, my peeps, my crew, and then also outside looking at the people around you, things happening to them. So, just to touch base a little bit on my family background. So my sister, God knows, I love her so much. Sorry to be disclosing this actually, but she actually had a kid at a very young level, at a very young age. So I sort of saw that these things do happen, and it's funny how people outside rush very easily to judge. So I've actually seen it, and I'd say that I lived with it, and I not that I feared that it might happen to me, but I feel like what happened to her was sort of an eye opener to me, to say, hey, these things do happen. And funny enough, it happened to one of your own flesh and blood. So it's easy for them to just happen. So I feel like with her experience, she actually sort of opened my eyes, and I'm like, okay, let's stay far away from such. Let's not get involved in relationships way earlier, because I mean, here I was a bookworm, so I didn't have time.
Yeah, I see.
So I feel like sort of focusing also in academics, focusing, be like, this is all I know, and this is where I'm gonna work, um, and do the best of my ability. And I feel like that's also one thing that actually saved me, because I mean, yeah, friends outside, yeah, they sort of found in some situations, but after all, it's life, so you can't really be like judgmental on or anything. Yeah, so I honestly feel like that was an eye opener to me. Yeah.
It's the first interview I question a lot about high school life. It's actually the first interview, and I think it's actually the best interview. The reason I'm doing this is because so many people aspire to be where you are right now, but they got discouraged around the way, and it shouldn't be encouraged at the varsity level that when you pass matric that this is what you should now do. We should actually uh, cultivate it while it is in high school level. So I need you, or maybe let me conclude to say this interview is an educational interview. Don't be like other interviews where I will be getting into details of your life, but I just need I just need to get some things like formulas, a right way to do certain things at school, because that's what we need. I mean, that's what we need, most of us. And now I want to get to this point of you. I need you to give tips on how to do well on your matric based on your experiences. This is what I did, and this is what worked for me.
Okay.
In matric, because it is still early for this. It is still early for someone to take this and actually implement it.
Okay. Firstly, I'd like to say, as people, we have different methods of approaching. So me telling you mine might work for others but might not work for other people, which is, I mean, life doesn't have formula, okay? So you need to sort of discover things on your own. That's no, honestly, you do need to discover things on your own, and that is what helps you to grow and develop into a person that you probably would want, or yeah, you aspire to be one day. But as for me, Um, Oh, and also one other thing that I'd like to point out that I feel like we as young people make mistake of is it's never too late. It's never too late for you to pass the test. It's never too late for you to do better than the previous one. Trust me. Even if now you're already a grade 10 and things hasn't been working out, you can still work your way up, you know. In terms of metric, what I did, if I still remember, hopefully I do, was I honestly worked more on my strong points, right? So I knew that mathematics really, oh my word, and geography, those two, they weren't really my strong points. So I knew that I need at least 36 points. So first you need to know what do you need so that you can get into varsity. Because the problem with us is that we actually not well informed and we don't know what do these varsities expect. I mean, a lot of us as black children or black people, we're not well informed of what is life after matric because a lot of our parents really ended up in like standard nine, I don't know, like form some things like they always say them, but lower grades. So first of all, as a person, please know what do you want in life. Like Bashe is saying, it's very difficult for you to find yourself in varsity as a first year or second year, and then you start realizing this is not for me, this is not what I want. And that time you meet like you actually come across difficult challenges. Like nobody's going to sponsor you if you realize second year after they sponsor you that you don't want to get in this degree. I mean, that's a waste of money. And it's very, very heartbreaking to see a young person in varsity not having finances, not understanding what is my way forward now, simply because I did not sit down and understand that this is what I want. If I get finance, I'm going for this. Yeah, so I'd like to say first know what you want, research about it. Sit down. I know we don't have laptops or computers at home, but we do have smartphones. And I mean, just going on to, university pages and then just trying to find out more about what you want. There's something we call the NBTs that they probably gonna ask you to write. So take such things very seriously. And then if you don't know, find more information. If you don't know, the other thing is us as black people, yeah, we like we don't, like they say, we don't like giving back to our community, not necessarily financially. So because I mean you also starting to roll up into this whole thing of adulting, you have a lot of responsibilities, but it wouldn't really hurt that much for you to sort of call perhaps Bashet's little sister. I had She wants to do medicine. So calling Bashet's little sister for just a few minutes and just checking out, do you know what you want to do? Yes, I want to do medicine. Okay, so this is the kind of points that they're gonna need. You need to write an NBT, and then because it's funny enough that you'd always get to a point where you okay, this actually happened in my life, in my journey, that I wanted to do medicine. I knew that they need more than 36 points at University of the Free State. I knew I need to pass my NBTs. I knew that I need finance. Hey, that's a big one. I knew that I need finance. I need to apply for all these bursaries. Please just apply for any single bursary that you get. Don't go like, no, I applied for two, no, I applied for three. Don't do that. If it means applying for 20, please do it, because you don't know what are your chances of getting one or zero. So try to apply in all these platforms that you can. Also, universities, apply for all the universities where they can offer your course. Okay, I know it's a little bit difficult for some of us, to have that application fee, sorry, that you must pay, but try by all means. I mean, it's all about sacrificing now for future, right? So try to do that. It's honestly going to benefit you. That imagine if you had applied to at least 5 universities, and then chances of you getting to 1, there is really a chance of getting into 1. So now if you apply to 2, your chances of getting to varsity are like very slim. Even if you are that confident, that of a confident person that you know what, I have 39 points and I know I'm going to get to medical school, just for your own safety and for your own assurance, just do apply to all these platforms that are actually available. And it's about time, as black people, which is one thing that I feel like then I didn't have. It's okay to go on a radio station. It's okay to go to call people who have connections. Just it's okay to make yourself vulnerable and then just ask for finances where they can. Because in all honesty, if you are sitting and you are not doing anything and you keep saying, you know what, I'm gonna go to university, nothing's gonna happen. Nothing is gonna happen. And it's also very sad, which is also what I've actually experienced when I was in first year of university. Mind you, um I didn't get into medicine first year, yes, because of NBTs. My APS score was great, it was good, it was above what they actually needed, but then my NBTs went south. And then you only find out about such at a university level. You understand how frustrating it is that you go, then you're like, but my APS is good. And then they're like, but your NBTs. So you see, it was lack of knowledge of really not knowing how much of effort and how much hard work must I put in this NBT thing. So for me, I felt so betrayed that they told me I must get more than this of an APS, and that's what I got. Now all of a sudden, NBTs are just shutting my path. But yeah, I feel like I'm available if anybody out there probably needs like advice or guidance on what must I do? What is my way forward? If you feel like this interview wasn't like sufficient for you, you can reach me. It's fine. Just to sort of show our young black people, that it is possible. You just need to know who to contact. What must I do from here? What is my way forward? You understand? So that is the main thing that I feel like I lacked and I would like to help someone out with. Yeah. And the other thing, I feel like I'm on the question, but I hope I'm
Okay.
still,
It's okay. It's okay. It's
yeah.
our interview.
Okay. Yeah. So I going back to the question, we were talking about metric. Yes, metric. Yeah, but it basically is that honestly, know what you want. That is very important. If you feel like you're confused, I know that our parents don't like this thing of gap year. They don't get it. You like gap year for who? But sometimes you realize the person really needs it. Because you go to varsity and then you mess things up. Instead of you having had taken a gap year and figuring out what is it that I want. So when you go in there, this funding is actually gonna help me to reach where I am going. And one thing that I also like to advise from Metric is when you choose a career, think of something that you know is going to take you somewhere in life. Okay, don't think of a career or a course you're going to study because the name is fancy. That don't work. That is not how we operate. Eh? You need to find something that you know that if I get into this, I know I can venture myself into another sort of platform that I like get something stable, something that's just going to maintain you. Then after that, you can sort of go into whatever that you want. I mean, hey, you're an adult, you are earning your own moolah. Yeah. So that's what I can say.
Oh, thank you so much. That was into details, and it was necessary for me, especially the point where you mentioned gap year. I was telling the other guy who was doing metric last year. I was saying to him, I would advise. To me, from me, I was saying, I'd advise all matriculants of 2021 to actually take a gap year, because the world is like, there's a lot of confusion that is now going on, and it's not something that you can catch up in a month. I have, sometimes you go around the schools, high schools, talking to learners at high school, telling them and taking from them, and one time I was talking to first year in the university. This person was like, I don't know varsity experience. It's like I just got promoted to like matric, but learning at home because of this COVID-19 thing. You remember, right? Yeah, I had people said that, like, I wish I could have just taken a gap year because I have no idea of what's going on. This online learning, it's such a rocket science for me. I don't even, the methodologies and stuff. Like they say, they can't just grasp easy. So that's what I was saying. So it was a very important comment you made there. And now let's get to the firing level of our lives, the varsity life. Oh, unfortunately, I don't have a trick. But to that,
hey.
That's where, I mean, that's where we discover ourselves. That's an interesting part of our lives,
Yeah.
And this is what I've got to say, that I would advise people who don't know their purpose to go in universities. What's nice about university is that even if you're not good with the assimilation of methodologies, you meet people who will challenge you big time. Big time. And remember about the challenges. The challenges, they actually trigger our growth mindset, and we become better people. Once that mindset is triggered, we become better people, because out of the growth mindset, we get to become like, best version of ourselves. But let me get from your side now. Tell me about the mistakes you made first year. We make mistakes, but not all of us.
Yeah, shame in varsity. Mistakes that I made. Sure. There's one main. Hey, it looks like I have one main of everything. Okay, initially, varsity, like I said, I did not get to medicine directly. Right, because of the NBTs and the confusion. That was one that I made. Secondly, because I couldn't get directly into medicine, they were like advising me to either go to a BSc or nursing. So I was like, I feel like nursing is way more close or more relatable to like medicine. And then I was like, let me do nursing, So I went in, I did nursing for a year, and through it, trust me when they tell you someone is in disbelief, someone is living, outside that world, but they are present. If you get what I'm saying. But I didn't want to believe that I am a nursing student. Because in me, being myself, I've always wanted to get to varsity and do medicine. So I went into nursing, and that made me be in denial all the time. The whole year I was in denial. And I feel like it's one mistake that I did, because had I accepted that I'm doing nursing, then I feel like I would have acquired, I would familiarize myself way better with the environment of medicine, the hospital, the knowledge that I would have acquired then from nursing, because I feel like I just went through it because they told me I should. The second mistake that I did was our public school. Not that I went to public school, which was a mistake. No, the mistake was the transition of learning. Man, it's sure. It's not. It didn't really work for me, because when you get to medicine, first thing you need to understand is medicine needs you to understand the content. I mean, it's all about physiology, you know. Things have got pathophysiologies that you need to understand, that don't need you to sort of cram and just move with them. It was the basics, it is the foundation of the knowledge that you would acquire from first year that is going to make you the kind of a doctor you're going to be in final year, you know. Because then when you get there in medicine first year, you realize, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue what this is. Is this what medicine looks like? Because I thought medicine was all needles and blood, you know. And then you get there, they teach you basics, and that was one most important foundation that I feel like I missed out on, because I didn't understand that I need to really get in the depth of understand the physiology, you know, so that you can end up understanding why are we prescribing such kind of medication. So yeah, that was actually one main um aspect that I would say I should have sort of worked way better in. But hey, it was also, it had to do with growth, you know. As a
I'm sorry.
person, you sort of grow, and then that's when you realize, as growth happens, that's when you realize, oh, this is how it's done. You know, like you said, that you need to go through challenges so that you sort of get shaped into the kind of a person that you will be. And also, I would like to raise this one out, that unfortunately so, not unfortunately, fortunately so, I got finance. I was financed from the get-go, even when I wanted to like switch. You know how bursaries are like, when you want to switch from one sort of uh career or like a degree to the second one, they kept up with me. Yeah, so first day, that was the main challenge, understanding what you are doing, understand the content, you know, grasping it, so that when somebody asks you, you can sort of spit it out from just understanding that, not that you had to cram, not that you have to see a question paper. So yeah.
Joe, I see, Joe. And you know, we get to have mental health problem along the journey of completing our completing our degrees. What challenges did you have around that subject?
Mental health. That is a problem that people
Because
don't
you
realize.
guys read a lot. I mean, you guys study a lot. Yes, sis. You know, I had where I was actually studying. So you know, there are those people with a permanent slot in library or maybe in
That
study
is
hall.
owned by them. It's theirs.
They have
Yeah.
like title deed of those slots there. So I used to have someone like that sitting just next to me studying medicine. This guy would spend all his time in library. Damn it, you guys are reading.
You don't
Studying.
have
Tell
a
me
choice.
about that.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Medical school, guys. It's a lot. It needs you to have a backbone. Kind of, what was the question again? I sort of.
The mental health problems or challenges you had. Yeah.
Okay. Regarding that, you do have you experience like there is a lot of moments when you have like a breakdown. Simply because the pressure, especially the university that I'm from, where we actually do like a 5 year program. So it's sort of very challenging, because remember, they want to squash it out from the 7 year to 5 year. So you can imagine, right? So first of all, you think, I have finance, I need to keep passing, because if I fail at some point, I am actually gonna lose this bursary. I'm not gonna have funding. I'm gonna have outstanding fees, and that is like stress on its own. That is like something that you want to avoid. So with that, and yeah, the meltdown, because the thing is, it's a constant thought, that keeps coming and being like, you need to work, wake up, study, because you either gonna lose that and then you're gonna break down. So with me personally, oh, there was a lot that happened in this journey. Some I won't be able to disclose, but some I can here. Um, I remember in first few years, there's something called a third semester in medical school of University of Free State. Those who have been courses in the medical faculty probably do know it. Some of them are like, yeah, yeah. So that year, it's a lot. There's these things that we call mimas, where you actually have to write, like, let's say it's 5 modules in one question paper. So you having to sort of adjust, and you need to legit study all these 5 modules, and then you need to go there, write them in one paper, and you must pass. Right? That's it. We need you to pass. Right? I know. We need you to pass. So at some point, I had like a breakdown. I was like, "What is happening?" I would go on bed and I would like cry myself, to sleep, and then wake up the next morning. It's sort of when now you're starting to wonder, is this what I really want? Is this degree worth it? Because you are all alone out there, your family don't understand. I mean, you can't blame them. If somebody hasn't been put in a situation where they're actually at a university level where they need to sort of experience, the whole um, the whole university I'll say
Experience.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if somebody hasn't been in that situation, I mean, you can't blame them to understand. Because even if you call home, sometimes you're just like, Mom, yo, yela, it's hard. Kunzima, umgosho,
Yeah.
like if everything is just happening. But you
Yeah.
realize that doing that was sort of also putting more stress on you because you're stressing them and then you're also not stressing yourself. So to be honest, I did have like a breakdown then, and then I started consulting with psychologists, hoping, they will assist at some point. And then I realized, you know what? The problem is not it's not sort of the workload. It is what it is. I just need to find a way in which I can manage it. So that's when I sort of recovered from it. To be honest, psychology didn't really work that much for me, but hey, it probably had worked for somebody else. But with me, I just had to sit down. Let's see, where did we go wrong, let's try to fix that point. Yeah, and also with the support, that really did help me out. Then genuinely, so friends, the friends that you keep at a medical school level, they really do help me. When you sort of, and the problem with us, what I've realized with medical school and us getting into the state of depression is because we don't speak. We feel like we are, we got it all figured out. Because every time you see somebody walking past by, you're like, no, she got it all figured out. Until we literally sit down and then we start talking, and then you realize like, you are going through a lot more than what I was going through. So I feel like the friends that you keep, the family that you have, yeah, also do play a role. So second time, I had few of them. The second time, I remember, I think it was third year. Yeah. So I failed. Hey. Yeah, so I failed the year. It's not really a problem, but how our system is structured at University of the Free State is that if you fail one module, regardless you fail with a 49 and you need a 1%, you are literally going to repeat the whole year. And you're going to repeat everything. You understand? So
That's in like medical school.
That's medical
in
school.
the University of the Free State.
So yeah, that's what I know about University of the Free State. So then I failed that year, and then that was my first time in my life failing. Remember, I never failed a grade, and now this time it's happening at a university level. So yeah, and then you get your results and you realize I didn't really need that much. I need like 2%, and I'm not gonna give it to you. That's fine. And now I start stressing. I'm like, sure, if I go back, And then I'm like, the bursary that I'm with helped me to move from one degree, that nursing year that I did, to doing medicine, dude. And now I failed again. Sure, I don't have any more grace years left with this funding. So now stress is coming back. Now you're getting all anxious. You're wondering, what am I gonna say to my family? How am I gonna explain this? All they're probably gonna think is, yeah, she started work, getting involved in the relationship at university. She started losing focus. Mind you, that's not the case. The case was, like I said, the approach and the method that I had used, had I used it way differently, probably I would have avoided the failing. Because I mean, there's a lot to study. There ain't enough time. Now you need to sort of transition from being just coming back from home, chilling and then studying, to your life now starting to being going to clinical years where you now need to get more involved in the hospital. You need to start knowing, okay, this is my hospital work, this is what I do from the morning till late. I need to go for lectures, I need to come back and sit and study on my own, make sure that I understand. Because sometimes, hey, public school and being taught by a person of a different race, sort of, being involved with other people, different skin colors and stuff, it does play a role, in all honesty. Something that we don't really talk about it, but it does play a role. Yeah, so after my failing year, that's when I was like, whew, I know it will humble you. Medical school will humble you. So luckily here enough, my bursary didn't leave me. Mind you, now that's just the third time. They're like, it's fine, we'll find you, because we see that it wasn't really bad. It was just like some minor setback, Nyana, we can fix it. So lucky me, after my second meltdown, I managed to continue. So yeah, from then, you try to like sort of organize your thoughts. You try to be like, okay, babes, I know I get mental breakdowns when this happens to me. So I realized that let's stop. Let's try to figure out how to, move away from what caused the mental breakdowns. Yeah. So yeah, then you start sitting down, then reflecting, and then you move forward. Then great, we moved forward. We didn't have mental breakdowns. Life was great. And then shoot, fourth year came. Um, and then okay, in between exams, life happened. That's when I said that I lost my dad. Literally during exams. Finally
So
exams.
sorry. May he still rest in peace.
It's okay. No, thank you so much. It's okay. So the one person that I knew is like, hey, it's gonna be okay. Hey, you must wake up. Hey, yeah. So it was a lot of adjusting around it, to be honest, that you need to realize the one person who did so little yet so much, is not there anymore. Yeah. So and then as you see such things, then you start sort of losing focus a little bit. You sort of tilting. Yeah, I mean it's normal. Your emotions are not in the right space. Your mind is thinking all these things that are like, did this really happen? And yeah,
There's something I want to question about you
okay.
failing. You
Mhm.
failing. What did you say to yourself at that time? Because I think we have to get that, because that matters. That matters. People say like they say very like terrible things to themselves when they have failed. Some they believe that they don't have the capacity to pass whatever they have failed, and that's where they actually despair or see their downfall. What is it that you said to yourself after you have failed?
Sure. Whew, when it hit me,
Yeah.
yeah. So when it hit me, that moment, I'm like, this can't be me. So you're looking at the results and you're like, there must be a mistake. So you sort of don't believe first until you then realize, and there's this emotion that clouds your judgment. It's like everything just Like the whole world just stopped and it's you in it. And then at that moment I felt like lefatshe bulega, let me get
It's a
inside. I honestly
yeah.
felt that. I
Mm.
was like, I didn't see beyond what was happening then, you know. I did not realize, hey, this is part of the journey. This had to happen. This is what God had planned, in your journey for it to happen. So I am very grateful that when it did happen, I did not wave. I mean, I did not waver around or sort of lose faith, and be like, God, but why did you let such thing happen to me? I've always been your child. Because when bad things happen in us in life, we start realizing and thinking that God is not there. Like, why would God do such a thing to me? I mean, I don't deserve it. And then you start wondering, now who does? Who deserves it? It had to happen. It was meant to happen in your life. So, yeah, I feel like I sort of was hiding when it happened. So it happened, ne? And then when you start going to university, you don't like talking about it. You don't want people who were with you the previous years to see who you are. Or if you are still in that same class, you don't want the students that you are with to realize that you are a repeater. Or you go to a hospital and then the sort of vibe that you get is you have done this. So you need to show us that you did it. You must be the senior amongst whoever is um a first time doing that class. So
And let me comment on that. And
yeah,
sometimes you are expected to be something like that, and you really have no idea of what's happening, even if you are repeating.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, you get lectures being that like, but you were here, this give the other people a chance to do it. And I'm like, no, but there's a reason why I'm repeating. It shows that whatever steps that I took prior did not work for me. So I need to figure out another path. I need to follow, different form of steps so that I can get where they also want to go. I mean, I sort of felt like it was a little bit unfair on my side for them to expect you to, you know what, stay back, let the newbies get in. I'm like, what about me? I'm here. That means I'm literally in the same boat with them. I need to sort of polish myself, and be the kind of person that I should have been, then maybe I wouldn't have failed. So for that, I felt like it was sort of unfair, but it was what it was. Um, yeah, I honestly felt like that's the thing with feeling you feel like there's no hope. You feel like there's no door that is about to open, and they say when one closes, the other one open. You don't see that happening at that moment. All you see is just darkness, and it's very easy for you to sort of dwell into it, if you are not the kind of person who's like, this is happening. Because the things with situation is you need to realize a situation is happening at that moment so that you can realize I need to get out of it. Because if you don't realize like I'm in this situation, it's me and I am owning it, then it's easy for you to get trapped in it. And then that is how we end up, as especially in this degree, that people leave, that it was or something happened, and then you feel like I can't do this anymore. Yeah, so you feel like you can't do this thing anymore, and then you start leaving the degree. Had you realized that this was part of the plan, this is something that had to happen so that you could structure and fix your mistakes, I mean, how many times or how many chances am I gonna see of a patient, demising on my watch, or something bad happening at a hospital? That is a failure. So I sort of feel like it was a blessing in disguise that I saw a failure and I sort of moved from it. So the thing is, if you are a person and then you find yourself in a situation where you fail, regardless what kind of failure it was, I feel like the best thing is realize it is happening and own it. Once you own it, you actually even gain more power from it. But once you start being like, life, it happened. It's fight for it, fight through it. So yeah, I feel like that's
I
how
like
I.
that.
Mm,
Yeah, I like that. I like that people struggle about um, consistency in business. You
mm,
know, it's easy for people to start a business. It's very easy for someone to actually regard himself or herself as an entrepreneur, and they
mm,
start this business, but they can't maintain it because there are two things that are at the forefront in the maintenance of business. One is consistency. Two is to actually giving back. That's the
mm.
art of business. So
Yeah.
some people don't have they don't have they don't have this principle of consistency, because remember, when you're consistent, it means you are continuing each and every time to do this until you reach your ultimate goal.
Mm,
That means you fail between the days or around the days when you continue, and that's what people don't want. So they hit first when the
mm,
business starts, the introduction, the growth, the maturity, and when it decline, that's when they get off. When it decline, it needs you to be consistent. It needs you to be
mm.
creative and innovative. People avoid that, and it's
Yeah.
not only even in business. Even at school, I I failed grade 10, and
Okay.
I didn't have this idea that you're talking about of owning your
Mm-mm.
failure. I thought it
Yeah.
was it was like that moment and it's over.
Mm,
I thought it was that moment and it's over. I didn't have the idea of, okay, actually I should hold on failure and embrace it and actually do what you're saying. So I really like that. I really
yeah.
like that. And now let's come to the sad story of your dad.
Oh yeah.
This must be the saddest thing to happen in the journey of achieving such a big goal.
Yeah, in all honesty. Yeah, so like I was saying, the worst thing is that it happened during the exam. I don't know how people cope. I have no idea how people go through things and they come out of it. But I am very grateful, and I'd say I am blessed that I sort of managed to pass that year and go to final year besides what happened, you know. And I feel like it was all God's grace and nothing else. So ish this thing, so yeah, ish. Oh, mm. Okay. I was in the middle of my exam in final year. No, fourth year, sorry, fourth year, heading to final year, when it was in the morning around the 4 a.m. Hey, yeah, so I'm busy there studying, revising, I remember. Then I hear that, when sort of death hits you and you are in disbelief, ne? You like, it's like something just brushed me off. I just had something, but I don't think I really did hear it well. Yo, yeah, Shem, that moment happened, and then I froze. I didn't know what to do, what is going on. But luckily, here I had friends. Yo, they really are like good friends. And in my life in medical school, I would really sort of keep the friendship going even after medical school. Because the thing is with them, they also did sort of experience the same thing, funny enough. And it's funny how it all happened at the same time, that it was during exams. So for some reason, I felt like when God plans, like He plans with an aim that in the future, I know this is gonna happen to you, and so I need these people around you. The kind of circle that you'd be keeping them. So when that happened, I really had like very supportive friends, and yeah, that moment, I sort of lost it, and I'm like, I tried. I sat on that table and I'm like, I need to go and write this thing today. Because then I know when I go back home and come back for reassess, because that was the main assessment again. So when I had to go back home and finish with what I'm finishing and, more in between with the family, and then come back, study, and continue with my exams. Because that was the only way that I can pass that year. Because I was like, it's not worth it. First of all, one, I'm losing this person, and then when I lose you, I decide to come back next year and redo my fourth year. I'm like, that's not worth it. So I weighed my option and I'm like, you'll have to just stop today, start over. I mean, come back for the reassessment, the second one, and then we'll see how it goes. Because in all honesty, my strength was gone. I was just like, how can this happen? You keep questioning, you keep negotiating with God. You're like, but why now? Why didn't you wait? Maybe you would have done it differently, but then, I mean, at the end, it's his plans, it's his way. Yeah. So Shem, I feel like one most important thing about medical school is support. you know there is a lot of things that are going to happen, and all the things are unforeseen until the exact moment when they happen. So be careful of the kind of friends that you keep. That is very important. And yeah, well, at this stage I'm involved with someone. So yeah, my boyfriend was also very, very helpful. Like, he's always been a kind of a supportive friend, and also, yeah, he's also been my friend. So I feel like it's important to keep a well sane people in your circle. That is very important. And initially I didn't understand this thing of people having friends that they go to vibe with, and having friends that they study with, and having friends, who are all like allocated.
Yeah.
And then that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, so you can have such and it's okay, but you need to know what friends are. There's colleagues, guys, and there's people we study with. There is there's genuinely all the sorts of categories that you can put people in, but there's friends. So stop saying you've got 10 squad of people that you know of. These are the 3 that I go to drink with, and you call that friends. That's not friendship. When life starts hitting you hard to a point where you feel like, I can't do this anymore, and you still see those people surfacing, coming out for you and trying to reach out regardless of the kind of situations or problems that they're going through, and they're not competing with you with your problems, and they just come out genuinely be like, we are here for you. So having such friends, yeah, friends, that was like one main thing that kept me going. Yeah.
And you mentioned something, your involvement. I want to get to that. Some of the mistakes we did as young people and we continue to do is because of the people that we are involved with. It's because of the ideology of love, from from perception to perception. There's this guy I was listening to some, I think it was last year or a year or 2 years back. He was saying, I have 2 minds, and the other one is for me to speak and the other one is for me to think, and I have to join them as I think I should speak. So when one is distracted, especially the one that you think with, you just lose it all. But let me get it back to it. There are different perception of love, and we end up having these comments coming from our parents that the relationships are time wasters. Relationships, I want you to get right in there. What's your take on that? What's your take? Because let me go down with this articulation. We have people right now who succeed and say, if it wasn't the girlfriend of mine, or if it wasn't about that girl, I was not going to be able to make it. if it wasn't the support or the presence of this person, I was not going to be able to achieve this. You know, we have like adages or proverbs like, behind every man there's a woman. You know, behind every, you know, such things, you know. So I want your take on this statement. Relationship can be time wasters. What's your take on it? Not, I don't want this question to be narrow. Just tell me what do you think about your take on the relationship in our living years?
It's true, hey. Our parents have built us or shaped us to be the generation where, no, you should not get involved with a boy, you know, you're gonna get pregnant. That's one line that we've always known. And which, yeah, also my parents were sort of like that. But I feel like it's more of an individual based thing, you know. I know I had friends from high school who did get involved at an earlier stage, you know, and I got involved at a later stage, right? But what people sell as love, people will go for like different definitions, but based on my definition, or if relationships or you getting involved, what time is the appropriate time for you? I'd say, who relationships, it's a very broad sort of topic, but
yeah,
I'd say it depends what kind of a person do you get involved with, and what are your aims, you know, together. What are your goals? What are you guys building towards? You know, we as girls, we get in relationships sometimes because of sort of peer pressures, ne? And then because you don't want to be left out. I mean, who wants to be left out in a squad of girls when everybody's involved with, you know, when everybody's basically busy texting and then saying hi in the morning, good morning. So you don't want to be left out of such things. And such things are really like minor things that don't really matter, you know. Get in a relationship when you feel comfortable to do that. Get in it knowing what do you want from it, you know. For me, it doesn't matter at what age here. Well, I would say between high school or varsity, it really doesn't matter at what age or at what stage in your life do you get involved with the person, but just to know why you are doing it, you know. Don't do it because somebody else was doing it. No, do it because you want to. Do it because you want to have the second person who's actually going to be there for you, and you're going to be there for them. Because at the end of the day, it's all about us building each other together, so we can grow and sort of build our own empire, you know. So it's not even about because we feel like I'm saying that love is defined in very different forms. People define love as sex, and that's not how it is, you know. Love is someone, for me personally, love someone who's going to be there to care for you, someone who's going to go extra miles for you, someone who's gonna, you're going to be able to call late night when you're at university and be like, I can't do this, I have no idea, I have no clue what is going on. And then that person's going to wake up that night and be like, you know what, calm down, you know. These are the kind of relationships that we are sort of building into, although our parents still don't understand, because for them, when they see a kid and a kid together, that is wrong. But sometimes it's all about having someone you at the same age with, that the two of you is going to understand each other, you know. The two of you are going to help each other grow, it be spiritually, it be emotionally, you know, physically. So you guys are going to build each other and into something, you know, that you've always aspired yourself to be. So yeah, in a nutshell, relationship, you can get it at any stage, but just know why you're doing it. So remember that.
I love that, man. I love that. And I think we're finishing now. I want I want to take these last minutes to, you know, to get your wisdom on the things that we go through, you know. And right now, the pressure we have, especially at our age, because I also realize that you're my peer. We are at we are at the level where being successful is part of the pressures that we are under.
Yeah.
And sometimes you find, by the way, let me say this before I go into details of what I'm saying. Guys, this is Asvaye Explorer, and please share our conversations with learners in high school and in university. They're gonna need these interviews. They are so paramount to them. And for our previous episodes, please go to our YouTube channel. It's Asvaye Explorer. And here on Facebook, it's Asvaye with an apostrophe between A and S. And I just want to read these comments quickly. We have Kilebogile Mukupi. She's, I think it's a she. She's saying, proud of you. And we have Warona SEKGOPA, proud of you, Dr. Shashas. And yep, and we're gonna read the other ones when we close, when we just close. So okay.
Yeah.
We are under pressure. Some people see other people graduating. They see other getting breakthrough through Forex or, different things. How should these people who are at the point where like there's no movement is happening in their world, how should they think? Or maybe what can you say to them? Because people want to be successful.
Never lose hope. One main principle of life, never lose hope.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I'm getting into it.
Yeah.
What we say, if it's not your time yet, it doesn't mean your time is not gonna come. So everything in life happens according to God's plan. I'm a believer. I am sure you do realize that every single time I go back to faith. Everything in life that happens for a reason. So where you are at this point, probably you're not where you thought you'd be. We all have this thing of life thinking. We actually do think that we have life figured out. We think we have planned it out and it's actually gonna work out, because that is what everybody wants, and that's not how life works. So if you are actually at a stage where you don't want to be, or you never thought you would get there, just know it's not the end of it. Once you start telling yourself as a person that this is the end of me, trust me, that is the end of you. But if you are the kind of person, or even though you are not, then stop telling yourself it is the end. Stop telling yourself and envying somebody else, and getting jealous or frustrated that they acquired something and you haven't. That's also one thing that set us back. Is what I love about myself is owning. Understand? Once you realize, like, why am I getting jealous? Why am I envying her? She worked to be where she is. She did not get through, by chance, or go to her, ask her, how did you do this? How can I, get to where you are, right? Regardless of, you realize, oh my God, I'm like 29 at this point. There's no way I can go back to school. There is a way you can go back to school. You understand? You should stop having like negative thoughts about a situation. Like I said, you get in a situation, you own it. You don't let a situation own or define who you are, because once you do that, trust me, once you start falling, you keep going down, and it's very difficult for you to resurface. So talk to someone, like someone who knows. I know that as people really abantu bamnyama, like we say, rata boloi, go na le boloi everywhere. Okay, and people who actually have acquired something in life have that mentality of like, I need to distance myself. So for now, I'd be like, but where has this boloi been? And when my God has always been, on top. So if you feel like I want to have what she has, don't be jealous. Go to that person and be like, you know what? Actually, being honest with someone sort of takes away, I don't know, their pride, and they sort of want to help you even more. So when you go to a person and be like, dude, can you help me, Bashe? Like, how did you end up, owning this thing? Like, where did you start? What did you do? So I can sort of start and sort of build something, and you can even get that person to be your mentor. So as people, please own your problems. Ne? Stop blabbering about them outside to your friends and yeah, to people, because it's not gonna help. But once you sit down and you sit on a table, you're like, my God, this is between me and you. I need you to help me. I need you to give me guidance. And then you realize, God helps people in human form. God will send someone your way that you were not even aware that this person really knows this much. Then you'll be very surprised. And that is how you sort of get out of a situation that you are in currently and moving on to being a better person. So, and the other thing, stop feeling pity for yourself. Let me tell you, the world doesn't owe you anything. You owe yourself everything. So when you do you, stop apologizing for yourself, stop envying, stop being jealous of somebody else. Get out of that comfort zone, go and hustle, and things will work out. And the other thing that we need to realize is, guys, life doesn't happen with just a button and then, already nje things that sangana. No. Yeah, so you get a challenge, you go through a challenge, and you know that once you've actually moved out of that challenge, you are actually a better person than you were previously, in case you haven't realized that. But yeah, that's how you end up growing, that's how you end up connecting to people who are way superior. So that's all I can say. Yeah.
Well said, mouthful. And what's your wish for Africa?
Wow, Bashe. Oh, your question. Okay. My wish for Africa, and also considering the kind of a topic that we are in, public schools, guys. Let's go back. Let's restructure, like, even if maybe our public schools not going to initiate anything in terms of our way of being taught, because I feel like that's how you sort of, like, our teachers are sort of showed a way in which they can give that information to us. But you as an individual, young people, get involved with YouTube. Okay, I knew YouTube when I got to varsity. Yeah. So YouTube. Okay, YouTube stuff, if you don't understand, click on, there is a video that is definitely going to help you understand what that teacher was saying in that class, and you're going to know it way better because you went like repeat, rewind, and then that works. Because these are the kind of methods that you realize you use at university. Why not start at a very young age? Why not start at a high school? Why not start at a primary level? Getting your child used to, there's a YouTube, you can watch a video. Literally, same topic that you were taught in class is the same exact one that this whoever is giving it in YouTube, and you're actually gonna understand way better because you're doing it at your own pace. Nobody's putting pressure on you. You understand? So for Africa and our teachers, I would really like to emphasize that teach kids that there's YouTube. I mean, they have phones. Why don't they just chill in class, take a phone and be like, watch that video, go watch it at home. Let them know that there are like platforms where not well, besides me as a teacher in class standing in front of you, you can literally do this thing at home. And when you come to tomorrow, it's actually an easier job for you. I mean, he watched it, he understands it, and all you do is just like on top of that. So yeah, I feel like that's one easy method that we can actually improve our education level with.
All right, and I think I have about three last questions that I have, and then we are out of here. And the other question that I want to ask right now is, what do you have to say to us as people living outside the world of being a doctor or having studied medicine? I want to understand, what are the things that you would like to caution us about as human beings, just living randomly or maybe just normally? let me just try to bring this scenario so that you understand the direction of my question. There's a guy who studied law, and he said to me, you know, but there are many things that I studied in law, school of law, that are happening around us, and our people are not aware of them, and they are not aware of certain illegalities. You know, one of the things I think he mentioned was to say to a girl that I'll marry you, and you end up not marrying that girl. You actually putting yourself under certain legal complication, or maybe legislation, if I can say. So I want you to open our eyes from where you're standing and tell us what is it that we should actually be aware of, or maybe have a look at.
What a question. um In terms of my career and looking at our people out here, guys, it's basically everything that everybody says every day, but I would still like to emphasize it. Young people, please. There is a lot of contraceptives out here. They are for free. Okay. You see, the thing is, you go to a clinic.
In my mind, I think you're gonna say, young people, please condomize.
No.
I'm sorry. Carry on.
No, I'm saying like our youth, if you are not ready to have a kid, do not burden it on yourself. We have contraceptives, it's free. Don't care who judge you, because if who's gonna judge you and they're gonna say this about me, you're gonna end up in a situation where you can't even get out. You understand? You start falling pregnant, you start raising a child. That is like a lot, you know. You start raising a child, you realize you're not working, ne? Then things just keeps like stress, life starts piling up. So when you plan to have a baby, don't just have a baby, Jay, and then when you get to a hospital and then we ask you, why are you shouting? Because literally you just went there, right? You didn't even try to use what we are giving you that's free. So I just like to make them realize that a baby, it's a huge responsibility. If you have a baby, it's good, it's not the end of the world. Trust me, you did a very wonderful job and we are very proud of you that you actually, no, honestly, some people, you need to tell a person that you actually went about a whole 9 months carrying a baby, and now you are responsibly taking care of it. That is an achievement, that is huge. But some things are better prevented than having to go through them, you know. Contraceptives are free. I mean, you just go there. You don't even need to come to us every single month. It depends how long do you want to keep coming. There's like 3 months one, you know. There's like those ones that could last for a way longer period than the 3 months. Yes, they do have side effects, but I mean, compared to that and having a baby when you know you're not a responsible person, which one is better? So for our people, our youth, that is one thing that's actually killing us. And you realize that after having a baby, I don't even have support. You understand? So try to sort of prevent things. And you know, it's not even about um falling pregnant only. It's very sad that you sometimes get to a hospital and then you realize there's like a 21-year-old coming to you, and you realize, how did you get HIV? You know, and then you start wondering, maybe was it a mother to child transmission? And then you realize from the history, no, it's not. I got this from my boyfriend. Imagine your boyfriend at 21 years leaving you with HIV. You know, you would even say a baby's way better. HIV is a lifelong thing. So try to sort of protect yourself. If you know you are in a relationship with someone who's not faithful to you, your life comes first. You understand? your life really does come first. So work toward prioritizing yourself. Be smart, like we always preach. Be, be the person that you'd like to see yourself become. It starts now, and then later on you're actually that person. So yeah.
Thank you so much about that. And I think now we have come to the end of our interview. This is the compulsory question that we usually ask our guests. What do you have to say about this platform?
Okay, to be honest, I didn't know about Asvaye until few days ago. That's when we started, talking. Um, I'd say it's actually a good platform, and I love that it's actually more involved with youth. And I also love the kind of topics that you guys get involved with. It's sort of, um, it's sort of dig deeper within the roots, the foundation that we need as young Black South Africans, so that you can see and be able to sort of trace the steps that you want to, trace the steps towards an achievement. So you guys are sort of directing the younger ones and really looking up to someone who has always been there with them. I mean, I'm from Gazi and Kitlatabanj, I went to school in Albert Morocco, and then I went to UFS, which is still like Free State, and I'm here working. So as a complete sort of product. So you guys are actually doing great. I love the topics. I love the aim, of the show. Yeah. So I'd say keep it going. So yeah, all are showing us that it's possible. And one other thing that is also great about it is you interviewing me. It's sort of making me aware, like, oh, I did it. How many times do you pause and be like, you achieved? Sometimes we take like achievement very lightly, that you need somebody to sort of like, you did it, so you can have that moment, feel proud of yourself, and that is good. So thank you for the invitation again.
Well, thank you so much, Doctor, for throwing us your time. We really appreciate this. And in Xhosa, we say nangomso, which means even tomorrow, when we need you, we hope to find you. And I enjoy the journey of your life. You have done exceptionally well for yourself and for your community as well. You're now practicing in Beckham. That's a good thing. Public hospital, because we get there and we have to go through long queues, and some people die even those in those queues. So having taken the responsibility of serving in public hospital, thank you so much, and may God bless you. I can also tell that your faith is fueled. Yeah, may God bless you. May God bless you. You have done exceptional well for yourself. So right now we are thinking we're gonna have another show whereby we're gonna call all like people like you to actually have a bombarded conversation, which is an interview, something like a debate where you're gonna say your points about this topic that we're gonna talk about. So don't be shocked if I request you to be there, and may your journey just go well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'd really love to join you guys when you have the whole squad together.
All right, and let me read the last the last comments that we have. We have Bella Canary. Congratulations, Wase. That's what that's what she says. And we have Klo says Dokotela, and we have Rapelang say yes, doctor. So thank you even for you guys for watching. Thank you for showing up. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And until we meet again, who's our next guest on Asvaye Explorer? Stay tuned to find out.
Thank you.